Hey there, Smite fans. Welcome to the commentary desk. One more go round. It is not so you think you can cast. I'm pretty sure I can cast.
Can you?
Because I'm here.
You didn't get accepted.
I didn't get accepted, damn it.
Accepted. You were top voted as well. You were top voted, but you didn't get accepted.
So, yeah, you can see there. If you think you can cast, be sure to chime in on who you think. It's really, really close, right?
At the moment, it's 51% to 49%.
Yeah, I saw the graphic you put out there.
I didn't want to say who was the 51%, but we left it as it was.
Well, let's take a look at our standings here in Europe. It's Epsilon still topping everything in 19-1. Paradigm and Titan, however, factor in heavily to the first set for today. It's Paradigm and Titan playing in that. It's 14-6 versus the 10-10. Titan on a bit of a slide. Paradigm holding pretty true so far.
That's the key. I mean, when you look at the stats that you see on the screen there, 14-6, 10-10, seems pretty close. But when you look at since the bye week, Paradigm's 5-1, Titan 2-4. The difference there between the two in terms of how well they're performing, especially like you mentioned as well. Titan, they've faced the bottom 3 opposition in the SPL in their region, and come out with splits all
that's really the thing that we were kind of just talking about. Just to reiterate there, the last 3 games that Titan has played has been against the 3 worst records in Europe.
Justice split, Myrmidon split, Dignitas loss.
Dignitas being the exception there. They're like seem to be about a middle of the pack team, but yeah, a loss to each of those teams does not factor well. Granted, there has been a roster change on the side of Titan, but
that's true.
And they only need to make top 6 to make LAN. But you really don't want to take Epsilon in the first round.
The big key is, like you said, granted there is because we had Oh My God, I'm a Bird stepping in for 2 of those games,
right,
for 2 of those sets.
And he's just a bird.
BroTuZ was his first set. He did the split, played the Hell, worked out well for him. But so far, Fenrir 1 game, Hell 1 game.
But in retrospect, none of that matters. All I know is that Titan lost some games that they shouldn't have lost if they were a full-strength Titan roster.
Retrospect, statistically, well, if we just go with statistics, we shouldn't go with retrospect. Really should be at the same
No, they're real. Let's talk a little bit about what we got going on this week here in Smite, guys. As you see, we are at the Curse Voice analysis desk for the Pro League.
Magic.
We have a few things going on this week out there in the world of Smite. First up, coming right along down the mountain she comes. It's the Smite World Championship in January. Tickets are on sale, swc.smitegame.com. Super Regionals coming up next in November, and those teams will qualify to head here to Atlanta to play for their share of the mill.
Share of the mill, and obviously last year, fantastic opportunity for everybody who turned up, had a lot of fun, and tickets on sale.
And if you are attending the Smite World Championship and you are a fan of costume play, well, boy, do I have some news for you.
Is that cosplay means?
I found that out today on Twitch. Yes, indeed.
Oh, wow.
It is costume play, not Bill Cosby play, which was the other most submitted definition.
Different sort of play, that.
But $20,000 in prizes. You got best in show, single cosplay. You got best group. Best youth, I think it's under 13.
Me and Adonis have decided we may dress up as King Bacchus and Christmas Bacchus.
Oh, the double Bacchus boys.
Double Bacchus because, you know, we're a group.
Well, I think you got to do some commentary there maybe, but
we could do it.
I guess you could do it in costume play.
We could get drunk and commentate as well. We're going to have to be drunk to do it.
So like today.
Like every day. Every single day.
Well, if you are at home watching this drunk, you shouldn't be. But if you are, you probably may want to take a look at Alpha Draft and get some jollies out of this game. If you're sober or drunk.
Fantasy esports.
Yeah.
You get the opportunity to win real money based
Earn
off
real money.
Knowing exactly what, basically going after the top performers. Find the top performers.
And essentially, as long as you just don't listen to really anything that any of our analysts say.
Ever.
It's never free FP week, guys. And it's never free Alpha Draft week
Never
either.
said it was free FP week last week. This week is free FP, though.
This is free FP?
This is free FP.
Well, you can sign up at alphadraft.com if you want to get involved in those daily fantasy esports. It's a chance to win some real money based on your skill and knowledge. And, hell, we got some other stuff going on, though.
It's constantly going on and on.
Man, it just won't stop. The Sun God promotion coming your way to celebrate the addition of Sol, the Norse goddess of the sun. Well, she kind of rides the sun, but neither here nor there. You're going to see all of our Sun Gods and many of their skins going on sale, 50% off this weekend only, as well as double fantasy points for wins.
Double fantasy points on free FP week?
What
a fantastic opportunity.
Who came up with this promotion? Madness! And yeah, so if you were looking to get your Dr. Vanis skin or your Voidworm Kukulkan, a good weekend to grind. So let's take a look at the schedule for this week. You were looking at it just before we went live, but let's take another gander as we kick things off in week number 8. Beginning of October here.
What a good start for the first 2 games of today. 2 sets today, obviously.
This is one of the more powerful days we've had.
For a Thursday as well. For the start of a week, very, very strong.
It's just like week 3, right?
Go point.
But it's Paradigm and Titan.
Touche.
TSM and once AFK, now Team Envy, or Team Envy Us is the organization. The squad is Envy. And then tomorrow, you got Myrmidon's Epsilon.
And then Saturday's the real important one, because the game of the week is going to be Saturday. Eager up against Cloud9, which, let's be honest,
spicy.
This is the first time these guys have placed for each other this season. It's going to be a big, important matchup since the LAN.
Since LAN, yeah, that's right. Just the COG Invitational. They did have a game there. Enemy TSM should be a good game as well, because TSM going down, Enemy looking like they're teetering on maybe either improving and being a top-tier team or falling to the bottom of the pack, still making LAN. It seems very likely for them. LDNC versus Fnatic, also a pretty good game this week with some big shake-up implications over in Europe. And then moving on to Sunday, you got Fnatic Myrmidons, Justice Epsilon, a couple of top and bottom of their respective brackets there. And then Cloud9 versus COG, also going to be an important game, especially if Cloud9 loses to Eager. Right, if they lose to Eager, that puts this COG versus Cloud9 game into a pretty high priority.
And then go back again to the match of the week. It is Cloud9 featuring them and Eager as well. Facing up an Omega, obviously transferring from one team to the other. Will he have an impact?
Look at that. Is he wearing a Cloud9
looks like Cloud9
t-shirt underneath an Eager jacket? What a player.
And I think there's a picture of that man's him in an AFK as well when he went to Brazil, probably. Just to change up even
why not? But yeah, it's Eager versus Cloud9. That's going to be a good one. But you could very easily have either of these games we have today as your match of the week.
For sure.
This first one is going to be, this is probably the best game out of Europe that we'll see this weekend. And potentially one of the better games that we may see this split, as these two teams should be quite close.
If Paradigm could actually get off to a really good start here and get these 2 wins against Titan, this should pretty much solidify them for a top 3 finish, guaranteed at the end of the season. If they slip to Titan here, it puts Titan in the running to try and make top 3, and being top 3 can really impact how the LAN schedule will fall for you as well, and which teams you have to face to potentially go to Worlds.
Well, it seems like the most important, probably the most valuable spot right now in Europe and North America is second.
For sure.
Because you ain't unseating Epsilon or AFK, now Envy.
You don't want to be there.
And you definitely don't want to face them until as late in the bracket as possible.
Exactly. So if you end up
second or fourth is better than third, I'd say.
Completely agree. Completely agree, actually.
So we'll see. You may see some tactical shenanigans here as they try to adjust their seating.
Well,
but
tactical problem. Titan, first of all, they're going to be on your screens, and they've got the new addition of BroTuZ in the solo lane.
He fits right in, doesn't he?
He does, and people are saying he looks a little bit like Ataraxia.
Yeah, a little. So well, Ataraxia is the man of many brothers.
I was going to say another brother is in done. I mentioned that when he first joined the team. But BroTuZ coming into the solo lane. Last week, he had a very good performance on Hell, which is to be expected if you don't get camped. And the first game of the game, though he played Fenrir, was a bit so-so. It looked like they tried to pressure for him early to give him the support to Repikas, but it didn't pay off for them. And in the end, they ended up losing that game.
Do you know BroTuZ's nationality?
Not off the top of my head.
You think he's Danish?
I would say Danish.
Danish, maybe? Welsh, perhaps?
Danish? No, not Welsh.
No, just Ataraxia.
Just Ataraxia. Only that brother lives
there. Speaking of the Danes, let's take a look at Paradigm. They got a few on their roster as well.
Well, they've got 2.
Yeah, well, they got Jeppe.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, well, that's like the most Danish name ever,
Jeppe
right?
and Quvo.
Yeah.
I don't know Q's real name. I should know that, but...
Quvo's real name... Oh, come on.
Jeppe 2.
Jeppe 2.
Jeppe 2. I'm okay with that one. Lawbster in mid, TrixTank and Funballer ran out the roster. Good season. And obviously, Xaliea, which we forgot to mention there. But yeah, the roster for Paradigm so far this season, sure but steady. Been under the radar for the most part. A little bit like Titan last year for me. Went under the radar, many people noticed them, but they're currently sat around 2nd, 3rd position, vying with Fnatic at the moment. But they're having good performances, only dropping 6 games all season.
The big thing here for me is like, this split has been an interesting one because Paradigm and Fnatic both do not seem very reliable.
A little bit less than what we would have liked to have seen previously, but I think that's because Epsilon's in the mix now.
Maybe.
Epsilon wasn't really about as much last split as they are this split.
All right, I guess if they all had 2 or 4 less losses based on not having to face Epsilon.
If you take Epsilon out of the equation completely, and then you put Titan in there, it's like, well, Titan, Paradigm, and Fnatic, that's top 3.
Right, yeah, to be the maybe it's just rose-tinted glasses here, me looking back on
it just
historical.
Means he is more competitive, that's why.
Is that what that means?
That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look at Picks and Bans game number 1 and see just how competitive they are and whether or not they ban Hell, where she hasn't seen too much play in Europe. That's how you know the whole thing has gone topsy-turvy.
Back and forward, because it depends if Odin's available as well.
Yeah, indeed. Right.
Here's the thing. Game 1, Titan chose to go 2nd pick. And I'm really surprised by that because their win ratio when they play Chaos side is only 36% this season.
Ooh.
36%.
That's a stat for you.
Which is really low.
That is quite low.
Compared to, across the way, Paradigm, 70% win ratio on both sides, Order or Chaos.
Huh.
Titan.
So what do you know now off the top? Titan's win ratio, I guess, on the other side is quite
63%.
63%.
Yeah, just about less than a percent between the two, obviously.
Yeah,
just
indeed.
Round it down, round it up. So yeah, 63% on Order, but they've chosen to go Chaos here, which I'm quite surprised at, considering the low win ratio.
Also surprising here so far, Paradigm. They're going to ban Giannis away from their first pick. Khepri banned out by Titan, no surprise there. Athena removed as well. She's all over the place. It's like you spin a roulette wheel, and it's like, this week, Athena will be high priority.
High priority. Well, she's starting to come back more and more in the meta now. I don't understand why, but everyone's starting to pick her again. Maybe because of the taunt, and they're realizing once again, she goes around in circles where it's like, oh, the taunt's really useful. Let's start picking her again.
Yeah, there's always that weird thing where, it's like, okay, well, everyone's picking Amir or whatever, right? And then it's like, okay, well, we'll pick Ares against your Amir.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, well, they're picking Ares, we're going to pick Sylvanas and just kite and defend. And then, oh, well, if you're going to do that, we'll pick Athena and aggress into you. Right, it's...
Exactly. Well, the last 2 games Titan played, they did pick Athena. Jungled once, supported once.
Yeah.
Had pretty good games on both of those. But Paradigm not going to play an Athena in the support role ever because it's TrixTank.
Yeah, TrixTank.
He's not aggressive.
He's posturing for that Sun Wukong, one would think. He's a big Sun Wukong fan, but then also it could go to Xaliea, although I'd like to see Xaliea on Playmakers more than that. Titan planned here. I mean, this is really at this state, this like kind of end of the split and where the game state is currently. I would say it's a pretty easy picks and ban state given the meta.
Yep.
It's pretty. You can be pretty certain they're going to first pick Sun Wukong, and you can see here Titan was pretty confident in those first 2 picks. Thor, Isis.
Well, Thor as well this season. He's actually been picked in over 53% of games.
You know what? We should just remove Thor from the game.
The whole season, 53%, but that's not including bans, right? That's only picks.
Yeah.
So it means he's getting through the ban phase, but when he gets through the ban phase, he's then being picked in over half the SPL games.
It's classic Thor.
I mean,
Thor's been in this position since there was Smite.
But when the meta first hit after the changes that we made in the season, everyone was like, Thor's not good anymore because the jungle's different, you don't gank as early, and now that's changed again because people are like, yeah, you still gank.
Okay, Paradigm.
So that Chronos pick and that Neith pick, we're probably going to see Chronos go to Funballer. Played it a few times already.
Yeah, you think?
Neith mid for Lawbster, more than likely.
I think there's a chance that this also goes to Xaliea. We've seen him play the Chronos.
Well, he's not going to have Isis this game, so...
That's right. Yeah.
He's going to be very upset not having his Isis.
Not having his Isis.
But he's been going a lot towards Chaac as well when he's been playing the Warrior.
Right. Yeah, we saw that super hot play out of Chaac.
Well, he goes Jotuns into Transcendence.
Well, did you see, what was it yesterday, or last week where he had to play, I think it was against, was it Mogao? Or was someone playing Hades?
Yeah, he was like, he 1v1 Mogao, but then he did a 3v1 in that game as well.
Oh, he also did the, like, he stacked, he got caught by Hades' ultimate and threw an axe, didn't have mana, and then stacked up the Chaac ultimate and teleported out.
Yep.
Pretty crazy play there. Hell.
Now, that's the opportunity.
You know, I don't think I've ever actually seen that portrait for Hell.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
Because I don't think I've ever seen her picked in a game I've casted.
Oh, wow, have you not?
No, I don't believe so.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's coming back more and more prevalent, but this is the sort of time you pick a Hell because you get the counter ban option here. So you can ban away the Odin, which is a prevalent pick.
Yep.
You can see that banned away there. And that's one of the reasons you don't necessarily pick Hell so early because you want to make sure they don't have Odin, which is, to be fair, Odin Circuit are like the top 2 gods to deal with healers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with their anti-healing. Osiris' anti-healing way less confirmable, we'll say.
I think the Hell pick for BroTuZ is going to be interesting. I'm pretty certain it's going to go to BroTuZ here, this Hell.
One would expect, yeah.
He's against Xaliea, though. That's my big concern.
Well, the good news is Hell
should know how to
Hell doesn't care about Chaac.
No.
Chaac is ineffective, right? So, like, either Xaliea picks something really aggro, or he picks another farmer. Well, which the Chronos could very well be, and the Sun Wukong.
Is on the table that you could give him, and put the pressure on him.
And Sun Wukong is quite good against Hell, I'd say.
For the most part, yeah, he's not too bad. I mean, she can out-sustain after around level 4, about level 6, actually, I'd say. She'll be fine.
But the big thing there is that, like, Sun Wukong can just dive the tower against Hell. So, like, if Hell ever gets to, like, half HP, like, he can just walk into the tower, because the decoy will tank it, he'll get all the extra protections. So you can make doing a ton of damage. Like it's a really tough matchup to play as the Hell until you do hit that critical mass level 5, level 4.
What would be nice though to see Paradigm QvoFred pick up a really strong aggressive jungler and invade this Hell early on. Just put him on the back foot immediately and try and shut BroTuZ
Show me a Wheelix. No. Oh
now,
my. Okay.
The Cabrakans have been taken away there because Paradigm have run that quite a few times.
Yeah,
they have. When they've run Dazer in the jungle, their coach, when he was subbing in for Cuvo, he ran it a couple of games, and then on top of that, last game back, Cuvo ran it as well.
His name is Anders. Anders Korsbo. Anders. QvoFred.
Good. You just remembered it.
It just came to me.
You didn't even cheat with that either.
No.
You just remembered it. It's so good.
Yeah.
So Cabrakan
came to me in
going to be picked up for 10. I'm pretty sure that's more like counter pick than anything else, and Cuvo going to default to Batz, which if they try and
okay, it is that Chaac nasty.
Batz Chaac invade in Hell against Hell 4. I think that would be okay.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. Right. It really all comes down to the Batz slow from Somersault, right? Like if he hits the slow on Hell and forces her to use her purge really early, and then they can silence her with the Chaac ultimate.
Do you take Somersault for the slow at level 1, or do you go for the
no? Hell no. No. He's farming. I don't think he's trying to gank the Hell early, honestly.
No, but trying to invade the Hell might be a bit.
That's not, I mean, you don't pick Sun Wukong to.
Because he's hog.
I'm like 3 years behind. You don't pick Batz for early game ganking, right? He's a
That's
level
true.
5 ganker.
That's true. I mean, he's from level 5 onwards, he's like the best.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Jungler, because he's constantly that
He's
Techno
handsome.
Evil's always available.
Xbalanque going to be your final pick on the side of Titan. That will be your Hunter going into what appears to be a Chronos in the dual lane. I still like the Neith for the mid lane here.
Well, take into account as well, this Xbalanque pickup. This is the first time this season we're going to see Ataraxia back on Hunter. He played for against Justice, obviously, and picked Neith and Medusa, but now going to be picking Xbalanque. So
That's a little spicy.
He's got a little bit to relearn in that role to an extent. Because he was
Remember
taking
when
a
like
long break.
Xbalanque was just like unpickable?
He was. Interesting fact. Gold Fury secures with basic attacks. Guess who has the most?
I know the answer to this.
Go on.
Giannis.
No, that's Mage. That's the Mage with the most basic attacks. Xbalanque is the highest Gold Fury killer. 33 kills with basic attacks.
With just basics?
Just basics. 33. He's not even played that many games, but he's got 33. I don't know what
It's
it
a lot
is.
of damage.
but
It's all that bonus damage.
I guess it is. He's getting all those early kills.
Yeah. Well, it's just branching bowl is nice as well. Old Repi going to be playing Cabrakan. Not really a god that I would, would come to the top of mind when we talk about Repikas.
This is starting to come back towards EU again, where we ran the Ymir and such. I think that's the issue. We saw a lot of Ymir coming out from them in the support role. In the jungle, we saw a lot of Guardians being played, like Ymir, like Cabrakan, and it seems like we're going full circle again because we saw Qvo picking this one up, and we're going to go straight back to this one again.
Well, it looks like we got an early game pause there coming out, guys. But as we break this one down, I mean, it is the Neith mid there in the Chronos Hunter role going into the Xbalanque. Chronos versus Xbalanque in the lane. Not one you see really often.
To be fair, Chronos should have a little bit better wave clear, but with the supports involved, it's going to be Sun Wukong and...
Sun Wukong and...
What support was it? I'm sorry, I didn't...
Do they even have a support?
They do, but...
No, they don't.
They just didn't get one. They didn't get support.
To hell with it.
They went 4v5.
Yeah, of course.
The
Why
whole
not?
game plan.
Well, but like the supports are really, I mean, the first couple of minutes of interaction, like whatever, right? Like the duo part of it is a very different dynamic than post 5 minutes when it's just the 1v1.
Yeah.
And that's really what I want to focus on is the 1v1 between these two hunters. Xbalanque has really good tools to deal with Chronos, right? Like Rising Jaguar is we'll call it a complete counter to stop time.
But stop time is one of those abilities that you have to time perfectly well as well.
Yeah, indeed.
During the Rising Jaguar, because you don't get full immunity while you're using
Not until you actually go into
Not
the
until
air.
you get to the full height. So what you want to do is you're going to have to time it. It's kind of difficult
Well,
to
I
time
mean,
it.
this is a professional player that's been playing
It's
the
still
game for
difficult to time.
many years. Okay, fair.
It's still difficult.
But I mean, like he has the tool, right?
does.
It's not any other hunter that doesn't have that tool, right? No other hunter has built-in CC immunity outside, not ultimate, right? Like Anhur does Experience things, and Apollo, well, channeling the ult, right?
Yeah, channeling
but these are both
yeah,
ultimates,
yeah.
right? Not a 14-second cooldown dash.
Rewind on Chronos as well. When you look at the lane matchup, it's going to be in favor of Chronos for me because Xbalanque is very poke heavy. Poison damage, continuous dots, and Chronos takes a lot of poke. He can just rewind all the way back down.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what Xbalanque should be looking to do here, what they should be looking to do is consistently poke and get him very, very low over short periods of time so he can't rewind and get full health all the way
Not
back
to mention
up
they do
again.
have the ISIS for the silence, so
They do.
we'll see. Bede's going to factor in heavily. Let's hop back into the game as it does appear to be ready and carry on with Paradigm versus Titan game 1.
So yeah, we're going to see Neith versus Isis. This one at the beginning of the game. Isis has got the same push power as a Neith, pretty much. So it's one of those matchups that you don't see too often, but I think we've
Well,
seen...
ISIS with red pot, I'm sorry, Neith with red pot with bluestone and with red buff
She's going to be
does.
clearing fantastically. And that's why they put it there more than likely, because they want that aggression and the opportunity to push back against the counter push that Titan's going to put out from them.
Don't take your pub Neith into the mid lane unless you have some
Please
buff
don't.
prioritization from the rest of your
Please
team,
don't.
because it will not work versus the ISIS. You'll get outpushed pretty heavily. But with all the right tools in place, it is it's certainly a viable strategery. Okay, so it's Sun Wukong, right, as a support.
And we can actually talk about that. It was Thor support was the issue, because I was like, Thor was drafted, but I was like, oh, it's Cabrakan jungle.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
did
Thor
kind of
support.
miss that. It was like Cabrakan got logged in and was like, well, that's your jungle,
Well,
and
this is
ignored
the
the
funny
Thor.
thing about this composition, because this is Titan, right? And Paradigm are the one that have run Thor support twice, Cabrakan jungle twice.
Well, I look at Paradigm, right? They're like, Thor support.
Well, they know how to abuse it.
Yeah,
They
they're just
should
going to
do.
walk in and contest camps because Thor support doesn't bring very much at all in the early stages of the
I
game.
think that was the big harpy that ended up going down to
It was,
Titan,
yeah,
so it
they-
didn't really work out for Paradigm
No.
very well, that.
It was a poor invade, certainly. But they do come out a bit ahead as a result of it. Look at that. They have a 600 gold lead already.
That's more
What?
experience sharing more than anything else.
Yeah.
A little bit better on the experience sharing that's working out for them. Qvo trying to steal the right back harpies here, which I like the call of because he's got Lawbster pressure in mid lane here. Just continue to just grow his advantage slowly but surely.
Yeah, look at this one up. Looks like they were behind maybe a big camp there, and that was the main difference, or a wave at a tower. But still about a 400 or 500 gold lead in the early stages for Paradigm. Lawbster perfectly happy clearing out this wave. And one of the nice things about running the Neith mid lane is that she's really, really quite safe. Isis, for all of her laurels, is not a particularly safe mage in the mid lane.
No, not for the most part. I mean, she has a few issues.
Well, I mean, once 2 hits of Wing Gust clear the wave, it's pretty safe. But when you have to channel all 4 plus a Spirit Ball to get the back line, you know, in those first 5 levels, she's certainly pretty gankable.
Health-wise, at a base value, she's not that tanky. So if you can actually get onto her, like the reason Bastet was very good against her because she used to just jump in, bleed her, jump out again, and she'd just take all that damage. But in this sort of meta right now, you're going to have to see like Hombat's commit 100% to trying to find that kill. Silence, stuns going to be available. She's going to be okay here, especially with a Cabrakan.
Well, it's really the Hell that probably has the most problems here. Once Neith hits level 5, which Lawbster has, yeah, I mean, they're going Hell's way for sure.
I completely agree, and that's what I was going to mention. They need to do something about Hell early and shut her down quickly. BroTuZ otherwise will get free farm in this lane against Chaac. Neither of them are going to die, but BroTuZ, as the game goes on, will become such a big impact player for the sustain that he's going to put out. So we're going to have to see either Paradigm go full anti-heal, which isn't going to be that strong, or full gank pressure.
Well, they'll push her under tower a little bit. Fred going to poke his head out. We're still a little bit away from those buff camps respawning, which is why you see the jungler kind of floating over there, seeing if they can find the pick onto Hell and really strip her of some experience. But, you know, I'd say ultimately it's probably not in Paradigm's favor to trade farm with the Hell on Chaac. They want Chaac to be ahead in that lane, I'd say, in most cases.
They'd like to, but it depends what build Xalia's going with, because Xaliea, for the most part, has always gone these aggressive damage builds.
It doesn't matter, does it? Like, there's no way that Chaac scales into the late game like a Hell.
Well, then he's going to have to go tanky, which is something that I don't think we've really seen
I don't think Xaliea even knows how
do before.
Yeah.
Exactly, so it's going to be, we're going to have to see how it works out.
They can't fight is going to go to the right side, Paradigm. You can see Chaac and Hell, they're having a little bit of skirmish outside of their blue buff as well. Left side camp's not up
yet. Pick that up more than anything else. Just trying to zone him and try to check if it's still available. It is, and you can see where Kivo is now.
There's no ward coverage from BroTuZ as well, but he's playing it really, really safe. He looks like he spotted out QvoFred on the rotation. They'll shove the wave and they'll take the blue. There's not much BroTuZ can do about it. Looks like Thor report's going to rotate over with the mid laner here.
TrixTank's the key. He's
already
over here.
4v3 for now. Funballer's ultimate use. KanyeLife going to pop his ultimate as well up in the sky. He goes PrettyPriMe quite low from the Isis. But going to get a nice burst heal out of that and do some nice damage as well. Big stun out on a QvoFred. Axe not enough to get the kill just yet. Chaac trying to maintain a front line over the top with the rain call. Boom, shakalaka, nothing cooking, no kills. PrettyPriMe, however, zoned out of the middle lane now. And
they're still trying to defend is the key here. They've got BroTuZ, but BroTuZ out of mana here, so he's not going to have much healing. They're still trying to find a pick, a Titan, but it's going to go over to Paradigm.
KanyeLife just got styled on. Actually, the whole team did. I don't think anybody expected him to move forward when that Spirit Ball came out. Barely making it up into this cloud is TrixTank. You can see the decoy falling away.
Look at Xaliea. He's already starting the blue buff up. Like, I don't even care. We can start this up. I can heal back up some more. They know BroTuZ is out of mana here. And TrixTank, after regenerating the cloud, can now just support and protect the area.
And maybe most importantly here is that PrettyPriMe is out of the mid lane for a long time. It's a 2-level advantage for Lawbster as he just farms wave after wave. They take the left side camp and they'll take the red with that long engagement over on the side of Titan. And that's a mistake that I got to say, you know, Titan a year ago doesn't make.
It wasn't, but to be fair, their fight for PrettyPriMe and Titan to begin with was great. He stayed alive after the full gank attempt went off onto him. Yeah. Circle of Protection healed him and his team back up, but then they ran out of energy. They didn't have any more mana. They couldn't follow up anymore. Right. And he just allowed Paradigm just to snowball through.
Well, they used all of their cooldowns were reactionary, whereas Paradigm was the aggressor there. And credit to Lawbster for peeling out of that fight really, really early and going back to the mid lane and finding himself a huge advantage. Actually, if we take a quick look at the graphs, we should see a fairly large experience advantage. Yeah, 4K going the way of Paradigm. The gold, let's worry about that later, but 4K.
To be fair, to map 2,000 gold is quite a lot in less than 6 minutes.
Yeah, indeed it is.
It's quite a substantial amount, especially because he can just get better ward vision off it alone.
Right,
Sentry wards everywhere, cover the field, make it opportune to keep an eye on where this Thor's going, played by Kanye.
Breastplate is out for the Hell, so this guy's going to be a little bit less reliable now. It's a Transcendence Rush out of the Neith. It's a fairly standard build-up for her.
Pretty much, I mean, straight after Bluestone as well. Bluestone will give the opportunity just to continue to follow.
Oh, KanyeLife ultimate forced out there. Time stop hit looked like right on the tail end there. And he's forced to use his ultimate to prevent getting, well, picked most likely.
That was more likely because they didn't have much wall coverage. They didn't know where Cuba was at that exact time on the map. If he was around Finn and Evil comes out, he would have fallen down there. So I like the decision wisely just to ult up because his team weren't there to respond.
Batz going to make his way to the right side lane. Hell has a ward there that he just walked over. Another one, in fact. And, yeah, that's going to be that. No gank going to be coming on. Cabrakan going to try to respond to this as Xaliea moves up underneath tower. QvoFred stunned out in the jungle. Silence off the mark. Trying to make his way in is Xaliea, but he's taking a ton of poke out of BroTuZ in the soul lane as well.
Left side, though,
Lethal ultimate was used on the right side here. Ataraxia, he's dead to rights. Down he goes, and a kill netted for Lawbster as Paradigm proxy farms in between the tier 1 and tier 2. And a manaless Thor stands there, wondering why he's in the support role.
That's really good work, though, from Funballer and TrixTank, because they should realize that Titans should know that they're all focused on BroTuZ all the time. So these guys playing very aggressively against Kanye and Ataraxia, who are finding the synergy again. Let's be honest, they've been away from each other in the same role. putting the pressure on this side, knowing that nobody's going to be able to rotate in if they can find a kill. They can go as difficult and aggressive as they did.
It's kind of weird to me that Titan is like, they've always been a fairly inventive team. They've always had kind of their picks that work for them. But Thor supporting Cabrakan jungle are just not really. They're like high risk, low reward picks.
I don't know in scrims whether or not it was Titan that did it first, but Paradigms ran this competitively.
No, I've seen it, and I've seen it work. Right, it's a snowball composition.
Is it them copying what Paradigm's doing, or is it them thinking they can run the same thing, or is it that Titan did it first and Paradigm stole it, and now Titan's running it themselves?
I don't know. It's an early game snowball comp, right? It's Thor support, it's Cabrakan, it's Hell, it's Isis. These are all really early game centric.
We say early game, but then if you look towards the late game, we've got Xbalanque and we've got Hell, right? Combine those two together with the amount of CC the other three bring, you can't touch the hell of Xbalanque.
True.
So they've got a late game mentality to this comp if they can get there.
Yeah, but they're gonna have their work cut out for them now with this start. And Xaliea may be able to snake this one. Yep, I'll have that. Thank you. But he may pay with his life for it. Yeah. Here comes rotation out of Lawbster, but as well for KanyeLife. But he's gonna go straight up in the ultimate. No wall just yet. He should be able to find a two-man stun here as Lawbster and TrixTank move through the choke, but no, they've called him off, and Trix
just takes a blue.
Just walks in with a blue and walks away. And smart stuff there by Xaliea as well. He just gives it to the Sun Wukong.
And I love what Paradigm actually did then. To be fair, full credit to both KanyeLife and TrixTank for the rotation. They were both on point about the same time they were needed. TrixTank still trying to make this happen though.
Oh boy. No Isis ultimate in time, not able to get down and detonate fast enough. Cabrakan's going to try to make the play here on a TrixTank. Will be successful to get on the board. Will Titan just off the mark there with that root was young Lawbster, and that would have set up a couple more kills. But Xaliea fairly low in mana, not much he can contribute anymore.
That was very good by Repikas to realize how much burst damage he had, because otherwise Trix would have got into the air and he would have been isolated in a very bad spot, all alone.
Running away is Xaliea, the slow going to come out as well. Pretty good, pretty decent against Cabrakan. Obviously, your seismic crush does ignore slows, but you know, continuing to close the distance becomes a bit harder for him as it continues on. And well, look at the counter itemization already out of Paradigm. A full weakening curse there, picked up by the Sun Wukong early on.
And we mentioned this is going to have to be something, especially when you look at BroTuZ's build here, already finished off the breastplate of Valor. So very, very tanky. When you look at mid lane, jungle, and the solo lane that he's against, they're all physical damage dealers. So he's only going to have to deal, he's not going to be able to be killed now, realistically, by this team, unless they all in. If they all in, they're probably going to trade out kills for it as well.
They should, yeah. I mean, well, they could just CC chain her to death, potentially.
But that's committing so much to
one
god.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least one ultimate.
Exactly.
Usually, probably two.
And this is why you're going to see Paradigm probably have to transition into getting more magical healing reduction items, just to deal with it so they don't have to try and put all this damage, all this aggression onto her for a potential wasted kill, especially if they trade out.
But unless Titan turns this around pretty soon, I mean, they're going to have a really, really bad problem to deal with in the mid game here. I mean, this is a very mid game oriented composition out of Paradigm. All of these gods basically come online right about now, level 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Whereas on the side of Titan, they didn't get much out of their early game. I mean, three gods are very early game focused. Thor, the Isis, as well as the Cabrakan. None of them really particularly scales exceptionally well into the later stages of the game, with Isis really being the closest. And then you have a couple of late game focused gods, but one of them, I mean, Hell is a 5-slot late gamer, right? She doesn't have like a good 25 minutes. She's got to go 35 minutes.
Well, the thing is, Titan's one of those teams, though, that we have spoken to, and one of the honest teams that turned around and said, we've gone into games before knowing that as long as we're not down more than X gold, then we should be okay in the late game. They've done that before, so they're like, all right, guys, as long as we make it to 25 minutes with less than 10k gold lead, we can still win. And that's probably one of the compositions and the mindsets they've got in this game, too.
No question. Oh, here we go. Backside. KanyeLife in a lot of trouble as TrixTank turns the corner nicely there. Leaping away is QvoFred. He'll farm up. Oh, gets that first hit. That's always nice. Cabrakan finds himself in quite a bit of trouble.
Big
He'll get the three-man stun, though. Jingu Bang, not going to be enough, even with that Bluestone pendant. Lawbster, does he have the ultimate available? He does indeed. He's looking for KanyeLife.
Body blocks.
But it's body blocked out by PrettyPriMe.
Yeah. Prime's position.
They may just go on PrettyPriMe, though. Ultimate, Chaac. No, they won't dive the tower.
Golf, you recall. That's why. I mean, they're both
two back.
mana.
You're right.
BroTuZ is on the way over. Two's already backed with them in a bad position. It's a free goal for you for Paradigm, just extending their lead. This is looking really good from Paradigm right now.
Maybe a mid lane attempt here.
They can pick one here.
Oh, yeah, dead. Dead. Bye-bye. Yeah, boom shakalaka. Xaliea takes a kill there, and Titan is getting overwhelmed in this game.
They are. BroTuZ was sat with PrettyPriMe there, but there's nothing he could do. He just had to give it up.
So talking about old Xaliea and BroTuZ here, let's take a look at their stats so far. Obviously, BroTuZ only being involved in a couple of games here versus the 20 so far this split from Xaliea. All these old BroTuZ having a pretty good couple of games there. so far.
It's early days for him. I mean, the Fenrir game, he got a lot of extra help from Repikas, where Repikas camped the lane a long time to try and support the Fenrir and find kills. Didn't find him, though, that game. Second game was Hell, had a fantastic performance. Titan come out on top in that one. He managed to get to that, not necessarily full build Hell, but that almost, you can't kill me because my team will always protect me build. And he's going for it again this time round, but at the moment, Paradigm have the edge.
But if you did pick up BroTuZ in those first couple of games on Alpha Draft, you're probably pretty happy with the 30-point performance.
More than likely. It would have been quite cheap too, probably.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Especially because he was newest and you're like,
no one knows anything about him. Oh me, oh my. Let's check back in with that experience lead and see how it's progressed. Oh, wow. It's doubled since we last checked in about 10 minutes ago or so.
Really accelerating. And where's the big differences in the experience, though, Bar? I mean, it looks like mid lane more than anywhere else.
Oh, it's mid lane. Yeah, I mean, remember, Lawbster got like 2-3 waves without PrettyPriMe even being there. A level on TrixTank over KanyeLife, a level on Funballer over Ataraxia, level in the jungle.
BroTuZ versus Xaliea, that solo lane matchup that we just
couple levels there.
Just looked at that. I think that's down to the invasions that we've seen on this blue buff time and time again. It's just denying overall experience.
Well, not to mention also that the Hell rotates out of the lane. Xaliea does as well, finds a kill and a Gold Fury, and she gets zilch out of it.
And for now, Xaliea is still continuing with this aggressive sort of Chaac build that we see coming out of him. Warrior Tabby, Jotuns, he goes Transcendence next for the most part.
Is that a Heartseeker that we're going to see in the Batz?
I doubt it.
Transcendence?
Potentially. We've seen Transcendence before in these junglers.
Hydra's Lament?
Oh, now you talk. Well, that does combine really well as his passive when you think about it.
It does really well.
And you can
tons of burst damage, max CDR with the Jotun's Wrath.
And it'll crit.
And the bonus damage won't crit, because bonus damage is just magical. Or it's not magical, but it's ability based. It won't crit, but you can get the crit plus the proc.
They are going in for BroTuZ's big hit.
BroTuZ, and silence, nicely done. The ult coming out of Hunbots. They'll get just a little bit out of it, but they should have enough. But you're right there, right? We talked about this. It'll take a lot of abilities and a couple ultimates to secure the kill. They get it. It's a big rotation as well. Here comes a fallout for KanyeLife. Not enough to kill QvoFred for now. Cabrakan can't find the hit. Yes, he can indeed. Down he will fall. Ice is ultimately going to be used here as well. The ground pound is going to keep them inside of it, and the wing gust hitting multiple targets. But up into the sky goes TrixTank. This one may start turning around, although there's not a lot of cooldowns left. Remember, Chaac gets free abilities. Two-man hit with the Spirit Weave. Down will go PrettyPriMe. KanyeLife, he's coming back in. No way. He's dead as well. TrixTank gets the slow. Axe over the top. Bye-bye. Titan, sloppy there, gets cleaned up by Paradigm.
Now, we talked about exactly that situation. They all go in on Hell, waste a lot of ultimates to securing. They pick up the kill. Titan re-engages just a little bit too late for me. They do find one, but they don't find enough. And what ends up happening is Paradigm just play the team fight a lot better in the situation and outplay them.
Well,
mechanically.
So what I'm seeing there is that this is Titan's mindset. Well, we take Hell and we team fight them with our Isis Hell and we out-sustain them, right? But here's what happens in the fight. Hell goes down. Granted, they expend a lot of abilities onto her. Hell dies. And then Titan goes, well, we take the extended team fight here. But look at Paradigm. Look who was in that fight, right? Hunbots, he's dead. But who's remaining? Xaliea, he has self-sustain. Lawbster has sustain. TrixTank has sustain. And that fight just went on too long. Paradigm just out-sustained them. Simple as that. With the Hell on their side, they still got out-sustained.
Still laning phase, though, at 15 minutes in. We're just breaking out laning phase now. And when we see the composition group up, I don't think we'll see BroTuZ get picked as easily.
No, of course not.
And this is where we have this lineup of BroTuZ, PrettyPriMe, and Ataraxia on the backside, with the frontline walls coming out consistently from Repikas and the disruption as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on a Repikas in these team fights, as well as KanyeLife to peel for BroTuZ. I mean, if they aren't able to get this Hunbots and Chaac combination off of the back,
I think Repi's played it really well so far for the most part. I mean, he's been aggressive in the jungle, found some kills for himself. His walls have been fantastic, as well as his tremors and the stuns. Like all of them.
Ataraxia's maybe dead again here. How deep is Cuvo gonna go? Yeah, he's dead. Cuvo just turns a corner for vision there.
Yeah, that looked like Funballer and him traded out. He backed up, but then
oh boy, no. Chaac with positioning. Xaliea, boom, shakalaka. Silence coming out. He's taking a bunch of damage from the Hell, but that's fine. He's peeled the team away from Repi here. He's caught out on an island. KanyeLife just trying to make something happen. Fear no evil. Brilliant placement from QvoFred. Isolates the support there. Down goes Thor. And another pick coming up from Paradigm, and they're really playing.
That kill that bar was like Repikas ulted to block them off from going on his team. Then went, go boys, be free. I'll sacrifice myself. And Kanye was like, no, I will save you, Repi.
I'm already up in my ult, but I gotta do something with it.
But then he sacrificed himself, and now they lose a tier 2 tower because they're all out of position. And then they can swing around, potentially hit Paradigm, go back to base, and start looking for the Gold Fury that's just spawned.
So how did we used to beat Chaac back in the day? Because there used to be solo lane Chaac left and right and center.
You get Wing Blade, you laugh at him and walk away.
Right.
Much. Like,
that was it. It was Wing Blade and sprints and just like, well, he doesn't really actually do anything. He silences me and I run.
And curses also work against him too, just to slow him down a little bit more.
But look at this. Look at this value Soul Eater. Maybe the most value Soul Eater ever purchased. 3 Transcendences on the side of Paradigm and add a little bit of extra power. On top of that, and some armor. Whoo!
And this build from Xaliea, he's done this every single... It doesn't matter what he's playing when he's playing Chaac against. He's just like, I'm playing Chaac, I'm going,
well, that's the point of Chaac, right? I mean, Chaac's like, I'm just going to lane safely.
But a lot of people don't build in damage. Most people have always built in defensively, like every other warrior, instead of raw brute damage, which is what Xaliea does, and he makes it work.
I think Chaac is one of my favorite gods to play in this game.
He's got the best voice lines, that's for sure.
He's got great sound effects and great voice lines, that's for sure. Yeah, but there's just something great about tossing an axe and then running the opposite direction and teleporting, and Titan making a bizarre play here. I mean, they're looking for maybe a big pick.
They need one.
The blink in, but the backflip comes out. Xbalanque ultimate going to use as well. Lawbster in a bit of trouble here. Ice ultimate to use as well. Yeah, he's dead to rights, and the question is, what is the response from the team? KanyeLife, he's going to go up and try to get vision as the rotations come in, and he's going to go down right on top of QvoFred, who beads and leaps out. In comes TrixTank and the rest of the team on the flank. They've got an opportunity here. QvoFred trying to close the distance, but he doesn't have an ultimate for 60 seconds. Overhand smash or a blink in could be enough to find a kill. Doesn't matter. KanyeLife goes down. Credited to QvoFred as well. The fight continues. Xaliea, he's going to have an ultimate available here relatively soon. So Wukong's ultimate is back up, and he's going to go up into it. Will TrixTank, but they haven't gotten to the back line and found BroTuZ this time, and Hell doing a lot, doing just so much this fight.
They tried to chase into a fight where they've got two healers in the backside for the most part. This BroTuZ could just continue to heal them up on Hell. They chase so far deep in, and they've tried to get Repikas after getting Kanye, who's squishier. You're against a Guardian now, boys, and he's going to start chunking back when he can consistently stay sustained.
You know, I was kind of like, I was fairly like taken aback by the positioning of Titan in that fight, right? Just staying outside the Fire Giant, letting themselves get counter-warded, not trying to kill the Hun bots. But yeah, I mean, like, this is really what they need to do, right?
This was the game cop. It was like, let's find a pick, they get a 4v5, and then we have the healer. We all protect the healer.
Yeah, that was a big difference.
And we'll win the fight. And that's what happened in Paradigm. When they lost Lawbster there, they committed to try and trade it back. But by doing so, they just continued to aggress after finding Kanye. They should have backed out and just left it at 1-for-1. Instead, they carried on, and the sustain kicked in. The CC was available again from Prime to support and find the kills and turn it back around. And now Titan, well, they're starting to make this dip a little bit in terms of the golden experience.
Not much, though. I mean, it goes kind of even, more or less. They dip back down just under 10k gold lead, but the experience doesn't change hands very much, unfortunately.
And that's fine, though, because, like I said, they're probably expected to be behind by this stage.
I think so, yeah.
If they can sit back now and win every single team fight, the next time they win a team fight like that is Fire Giant.
Oh, if they win every single team fight, yeah, you win the
obviously,
game.
yeah, that's kind of standard, isn't it? It's like, how do you win this fight? Make him F6 or Titan?
Yeah. Yeah, you lose all of the games, you don't kill the Titan.
If they win one more team fight like that, they can just go straight to the Fire Giant based off it. They'll have to sustain from BroTuZ there.
Maybe. I mean, their damage output isn't great.
Well, look at BroTuZ though. He doesn't know about damage. It's just like, can we outlive them? Yes, with a Lotus Crown on top of everything else. It's going to be ridiculous.
But, I mean, we're kind of talking about this Xbalanque light at the end of the tunnel for Titan, but Chronos is no slouch. I mean, he swings late game too.
Not at all. I'm never going to count Chronos out because he's along the same sort of lines of Xbalanque. I think the impact is self-sustained versus team-sustained is the big difference here. As we look towards the late game. Hyper carry-wise, it's about even.
Yeah, almost got QO there. Reppy would have gone in, I would assume, off the back of that. All of Paradigm kind of bunch up on the left side, all of Titan on the right side here, as both of them are swarming for kills, and I think both teams kind of know the score here. It's teamfight central.
Look at this, Breastplate of Valor, Breastplate of Valor, Breastplate of Valor, Breastplate of Valor, all on Titan's side.
I guess Bird likes the Breastplate of Valor.
I guess they do. Cooldown, well, it gives cooldown reduction, mana,
oh yeah, you're dead.
Defense against this many physicals by Lawbster.
Lawbster just way out of position.
They committed a lot for that though. Look how many ultimates we used.
Yeah, but what can Paradigm really do in response here? There's no objective to really force them to fight them without these cooldowns up. All they can really do is...
What Titan really need to do, though, is just group up as a 5 now and try and push down and take tier 1 tower in mid lane. That's what they should be looking for here. Because like I said, without the wave clear here, they're only really... Well, they've got good wave clear, actually, I can't say that. But the 4v5, they should try and pressure.
This is where I poured in on my Chaac. And I died.
Just pouring in, like, yeah, let's just go.
Into 5. Hey, let's go with old Storm Call.
Sounds good.
Looks like Paradigm strategy here is, well, they're going to try to stall out at least this push.
What I want to see from Paradigm here is like they've got two frontline gods here in Chaac and some Wukong. They need to body block some of these tower shots coming in. Stop the chipping down until Lawbster gets himself back to this game. And then as soon as Lawbster's back online, they can commit.
Reppy has a different opinion here. He's going to go in. Some Wukong, Oxform was used to knock them up, and it slowed them down a little bit still. Not too much damage coming out yet onto the tower. Weakening curse coming out, and it looks like Paradigm's going to commit to a fight here. Reppy is going to be the first to fall, and now Wukong up into his ultimate. The Humbot's ultimate coming through as well, and they've taken out PrettyPriMe. To the back lines they go. Thor, he's going to get double stun, triple stun, and away you go as well. QvoFred credited with that one, and Paradigm has surged back, taking 3 kills away from Titan. And to the Fire Giant they go. 21 minutes and 55 seconds into this one. And well, without really any burst damage spells on the side of Titan, they're forced to just stand back and watch. Gold Fury coming back around in about 20 seconds. Maybe Xbalanque looks to solo that as fireback falls.
Gave him mistakes for me. We saw that with Titan, aggression on the right-hand side of the solo lane, picked up the kill on Lawbster. Paradigm fought them back and lost because they over-aggressed. Titan get a kill in mid lane, over-aggress under a tower, don't find the kills they were looking for. Lawbster respawns. Paradigm win the engagement with, let's be honest, Chaac got off a 5-man ultimate, and then Quvo got off a 4-man ultimate following it straight after. They just won the team fight for Paradigm there. Now with Lawbster being online, it's like, well, we're in a rough spot.
What I really like about Initiation is you saw that like the second that BroTuZ used his heal, they all went in. Right? They were like, we got an 8-second window, or whatever that is, 10-second window to go in and find these kills.
And we mentioned the breastplates are valid and the defensive items here on Titan, but they couldn't live through all that damage still.
Well, the one thing that I'm really getting is like, Repikas just melted. Even with like straight up 2 defensive items.
I'm not sure who's, because if he's going against Funballer, he's going to take into account.
Yeah, I mean, he took a ton of magic damage.
Magic damage is one
thing. He
thing.
took tower damage. He took bluestone damage and a couple sources. I mean, he was just like, he just melted. And like, I don't know. What's the point of Cabrakan then? Like everyone knows, right? Cabrakan is probably
I could totally understand.
Is like the worst god, like one of the worst gods from behind, right? He doesn't really get much done as Paradigm is going to make their way to the Gold Fury here.
He's CC bot for the most part.
That's right.
You're picking for the CC.
But here, this is what I want to pose for you. Titan comes into this game going, we're going to get behind and then we're going to win it, right, when we team fight later on. Why do you put Cabrakan and Thor into that lineup where these are 2 exceptionally poor gods from behind?
Because it's the CC. That's the issue.
They just needed to make up CC?
The amount of CC and escapability these 2 have between them. So if Thor's got his wall, he's also got escape result and his hammer.
Makes sense.
Cabrakan, Tremors, 2 stuns, and the wall. Like,
I think that
this trade was bad.
I think you're actually. I don't think that we were actually right there. I actually really do think that. Kanye. Oh man. Got styled on Batz.
So what do you think we were right?
I think actually that this was a steamroll composition of Titan. I don't think that this was a late game focus. I think that there's like an insurance Ataraxia, but this is an early game comp that they did not get off the ground, and that's the issue here.
But it combines into a late game comp as well. I guess it was like, I can agree with you that they're both very early game focuses and get ahead, but if they're behind, well, they've still got this hell. Hang on a second, because hell's in trouble.
What hell? Almost dead there. And TrixTank lucking out just a little bit, getting up into the ultimate there. Summer Sort Cloud going to be successful for now. PrettyPriMe is down. No Ice ultimate going to be available. KanyeLife, he didn't have any survivability to speak of as that support. Thor, just no income, no items. Repi finds himself getting quite low as well. 1 hit, 1 crit. Down he will go. Funballer getting credit for that kill, and away he goes. Couple Tower Phoenix's shots stacked up on him, though, taking away 1/3 of his HP as he comes back in. Not getting too much value out of that rewind, but with 2 Phoenixes down, a Fire Giant buff still active, and only 3 members alive for Titan. It's looking pretty good for Paradigm.
It's looking very good. They can hold for now because there's no fireman. He's just pointing only left lane. But they need to get the tier 2 tower. They can look for the right Phoenix, go back to base, buy, and look to close the game out. So Paradigm more than likely going to be 1-0 here.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how Titan holds this one. I mean, it looks something like Thor wall into 5-man Isis ultimate with Hell hitting everybody, but instead it'll just be 3 Phoenixes wiped. Can we take a look at the golden hand? My God, he's good at that. Look at that. Woo, no one even holding 1,000 on the side of Titan as they're fighting out under their base, and 2K apiece on the side of Paradigm. So that's 10,000 net worth that hasn't been reflected in items yet, which is like quite a sizable amount of the lead. And that's going to be brought into Hooties and Deathbringers and all the fun stuff.
That's pretty much it. It's just go back to base, buy up, maybe buy a power potion if you're not going to complete your build, clear out your jungle one more time with a Fire Giant respawns, and then do Fire Giant, close the game out.
I mean, well, hold on. It's actually going to be spam mail renewals.
Spam mail renewal, you think?
The old flavor of the week, defensive item.
People have been discussing it. You said it yourself last time we casted it. Turned around and said, whenever someone's ahead, you get mail renewal because it's one of the best defensive items on the map, which is flavor.
It's been many things over the years.
But the flavor on the other side, let's be honest, it's changed. Breastplate of Valor.
Breastplate of Valor.
It's a good flavor for Titan right now.
Yeah.
It's not worked out as well for them as I expected. But the way this build has happened, I really do feel that maybe...
I mean, they built a sustained composition with a lot of armor. They're going to try to take extended team fights and dominate the early game and mid game. And they did not. And I mean, that was the goal, right? Dominate early mid game, and then you have Xbalanque's insurance if you start slipping in the mid game and their Chronos starts coming online before he would, right? But that doesn't matter. It's fine because we're going to beat them in the team fights. Right, and like I think some of that comes from like that TrixTank first pick, right? Like TrixTank, or some Wukong rather, it doesn't really factor into a team fight composition particularly well, right? He's kind of a disruptor. He fits into really any lineup, but it's not like you don't see some Wukong go out and go, they're going to team fight us, right? So, you know, maybe it could be that Titan figured the Sun Wukong for the solo lane right up until that Chaac was picked like we did it, and we're thinking, oh, we still got the team fight here. Let's take Cabrakan. Let's take single target lockdown. Let's deal with Sun Wukong, who's going to be a core, when in fact he's a support here. And they just have really no answer to, have we seen, I mean, has Funballer taken, you think, even 1,000 damage at this game? I feel like
he's probably poked down with
a couple times, right? But I mean, it's like it hasn't.
Fights, no.
There's been no pressure on Funballer in these team fights, and
not all game really. Let's be honest, we're not seeing the
and look, he's got 10k player damage. I mean, like, just hasn't really, and Chronos is a single target god, right? I mean, he's just had complete immunity in these fights. Fire Giant going to be going to the Paradigm yet again. Titan with all 3 Phoenixes down, forced to just push out the lanes and wait and try to hold off the what appears to be impending doom. As here comes Paradigm, and have they caught Repi is the question. No, it doesn't look like Qvo's happy with his positioning just yet. The hell, just off the mark there with that cleanse. Went for the heal before the cleanse, and that's going to force Repi back off the ball. Trying to get the time stop. Got the time stop. BroTuZ in some trouble, and here comes TrixTank. He'll be your frontliner for free. He didn't really even have true tanking items, so it's Mail Renewal into Urchin, and that Urchin's not really that stacked up, so not too resilient as Trix.
Left-hand side, they're just going to swing around for this Phoenix now. Minions are still coming down at fire minions as well. At least for the next wave, I believe. As you can see, the engagement, though, still going on. A lot of damage on Xaliea. He should get bursted down here.
Shell comes out. The heal starting to come through. Ice Ultimate going to be used. Xaliea healing up through the Rain Dance as well. On the backside, TrixTank solo. That's the 3rd time he's gotten up with that ultimate, just barely in time. Funballer as well. And now comes the question of, have Titan done enough? Can they secure any of these kills? No one dead just yet. Funballer trying to make his way out. QvoFred here as well. The cleanse used by Hell. All of the ultimates have been used on the side of Titan.
That was a monstrously crazy team fight. Paradigm took a fight against Titan. Titan engaged perfectly, got them all low, but Paradigm disengaged somehow and all lived. I don't know how.
All credit to Titan there. They take a fight with all 3 Phoenixes down and don't lose the game.
That's the thing. Middle Phoenix is going to respawn. Right Phoenix will be a little bit more delayed, but Paradigm have to go back and lick their wounds after having 3 Phoenixes down in their favor. I'm like, well, guys, I guess we take gold for you and go back to base.
This could be the beginning of the comeback. I mean, that's how it starts, right? I mean, they're going to have to do that like 3 or 4 more times, but hey.
3 or 4, minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum.
One of them has turned to a Fire Giant as well.
I hate bringing up the old Cloud9 EU game, but it's the only one you go back to when you think about games where 3 Phoenixes go down and, oh, look, it is Titan again that did that.
But still, Xbalanque is good. He's not Kali.
He's not, but if you can get some crit online.
Right, you can get some crit online maybe, but like, I think like the reality of the situation is that hunters don't win games because sprint isn't bought, right? Back when it was like, okay, you get a first hit crit, you pop your sprint, that guy's dead, and the next guy's probably dead too, because how are they going to stop you? Because you use your beads and they try to CC you. Unless we see him build into that sprint, right? Like, how does Ataraxia like realistically carry this game?
He's just going to rely on the CC from his team, which is what they're setting up for right now. He's just not in a position to support. But PrettyPriMe gets some pretty good damage off the Trix, and that early Cloud is quite important, I think. But Funballer may make him pay.
Kanye takes a ton of damage, and he'll use the Hell Cleanse as well. Xbalanque ultimate forced out, not finding much.
Look what Paradigm's doing though, they're trying to split everywhere. Qvo's left, Lawbster's mid. They're just trying to pressure these Phoenixes down. They realize that team fight did not work out well, so let's switch up the strategy here. We've still got Fire.
They're getting owned by these wards from Titan. They're right outside the base though. Really, really successfully. Just off to the side of the left Phoenix and to the right side of the mid Phoenix there as well.
But you can see how this has worked for Paradigm now. They lost a team fight, so they switched the strategy. Take 2 Phoenixes, they've only got 1 left to take.
And I mean, this is probably the biggest weakness of the Hun bots, is actually finding initiations when trying to break the base. The ultimate really can spell the difference between a successful and unsuccessful attempt, and there they will find Repi, and that's, as you mentioned, a big piece of the CC and the strategy for this team. Chaos Titan starting to get a bit low here, now under 7k HP, getting lower and lower, and it's getting closer and closer to the point where there's just nothing that can be done about it, and there it is, indeed. Unable to hold them out for long enough, the Chaos Titan will fall, and Paradigm will take game number 1 handily.
It took Paradigm a long time, though, to finish the game. They should have been a little bit cleaner. They made a couple of mistakes.
Yes, they had one attempt that didn't work.
Both teams have issues that they need to work on. Both made mistakes in that game that you can clearly look back at and go, that was a mistake. Paradigm overly aggressive, chasing after a Hell and a 5-man team to try and find a pick back. They find one, but then they continued it and then gave Titan a way back into the game to an extent.
They did.
But then off that, we saw Paradigm.
Good for them. They'd already built their lead up to the point where it was like they could sustain that a little bit, right? I mean, we saw it. Like, it didn't even really dip very much, given that they handed 3 kills back in a tower.
That's true, but then at the same time, in mid lane, we saw Lawbster get picked again by Titan, and it was Titan that misplayed against the 4v5 Paradigm team. If that wouldn't have happened there, Titan could have just continued pressuring and keep finding these picks. They could have got themselves back in.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think, again, for me, like we talked about a little bit during the cast, but it was the composition of the team.
Didn't work out as well.
It was intended to do one thing, and that thing didn't happen. Right? I mean, like, that's that. Right?
Yeah.
when you draft the early game lineup and your early game isn't very successful, it becomes very, very difficult, and you start playing for that 40-minute game. And unfortunately, in this situation, Paradigm had drafted a very, very strong mid-game transition team.
I'm not 100% certain what the reason Cabrakan and Thor was picked up by Titan. I know we've seen it run by Paradigm before, so we know it works, and it can work early game, it can work mid game, late game.
Well, the idea is like, okay, you like Tectonic Rift, and then you blink Cabrakan.
I was thinking like Kanye. With Kanye and the Thor, I was thinking maybe, just maybe, it was to do with the fact that some Wukong was being played by TrixTank. So we draft Thor, which we can then chase him down around the map, because TrixTank's very good at going aggressive in the jungle all the time and being very fast in the rotations. Thor can shut that down a little bit.
I feel you. I like it.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, all right, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, well, that's kind of what I was talking about, right? That Tectonic Rift setup, blink Cabrakan, Thor follow-up, right? That they're supposed to be the roaming duo of death, and they weren't.
They didn't get a chance.
But let's take a look at who did best this game. Alpha Draft top performers. Lay them on me. And that is Team Paradigm. In case you didn't know, it's TrixTank.
I've seen Paradigm.
TrixTank putting up a 42-point support performance.
And that's generally when he plays Warriors, he does that. Whenever he's on a Warrior, he's always in the jungle, up in amongst the fights. If he's not finding
you got anybody besides Incon or TrixTank as your support?
You just wouldn't, would you? At least in this meta.
No, well, just
I'll be honest,
for fantasy, right? If you're trying to win the World Championship, maybe you look at someone different. But if you want points...
To be fair, but if we hit all Warriors tomorrow in a patch, then I'd go to Incon.
Well, yeah, because
if we both
that's what happened to TrixTank last time.
Just stick with Trix. Stick with Trix the whole time. Trix knows what he's doing.
Fun. But like, what other warrior? Well, like Guan Yu,
Hercules.
Odin,
has done before.
yeah,
Hercules, Thor. Like you find him. Oh, assassins too, like Thor. Like we were just saying.
Thor's not an assassin.
What is he then?
He's a warrior.
Is he? So what's Nemesis?
A warrior.
Not an assassin.
No, they're both warriors.
Okay. Batz?
He's an assassin.
Loki?
Assassin.
Arachne?
Really more of a warrior, I would say. Like archetypally.
Although,
here's the thing, right? Like Thor's considered an assassin because one of our early developers was like, well, he goes to the back line, kills somebody, and runs away. Okay. So he's an assassin.
That's true.
But then you look at like what his spells are and what he does and what his passive is, and his passive is literally like
stay in the team fight.
The best warrior passive ever conceived by man, besides maybe like you full heal if there's more than one person you're fighting. You know, so it's like...
But then if we give him full warrior stats, I guess that'd be a bit of an issue.
Right, yeah. Well, but he doesn't really have assassin stats either. He's just kind of got... He's got Thor stats.
True. Well, talk about warriors. TrixTank was player of the game with that Sun Wukong that game. So good performance from him.
Hey.
Not a big surprise. 1 and 14. That's why he got so many alpha draft points.
Yeah, that's enough points. That's enough points to do it.
But what TrixTank does time and time again in the engagements is just always in the front line, poking, being an issue up in their face. And he had a big impact onto this tier 1 tower as well, where we saw Titan have the 4v5 advantage for a while.
I mean, for me, it's like... Okay, so Sun Wukong is banned next game for sure. And the reason is because 4 times, maybe 5 times that game, TrixTank gets up in the Somersault Cloud with like under 50 HP. I mean, it's just really frustrating more than anything.
It is.
I mean, it's probably, I mean, sure, TrixTank has a good like meter for where to pull the trigger, but more or less that's kind of like a roll the dice play. Like, I'm getting low. Oh, here we go.
Khepri and Sir Kep, but were banned out by Titan. What else do you ban?
We may see Khepri get through this game as I think they will ban Sun Wukong. But let's go ahead into